Oh, goodness. Yo. What is happening, guys? How's it hanging? Trasker. That's a new name. Holders. What's going on, man? Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a restful, enjoyable holiday break. Hope everyone made some goals that they're looking forward to crushing, trading, health, otherwise. Yeah, looking forward to 2020. I think it's going to be a great year. New decade, man. New decade. Bass, how are ya? Manish, how are you? Happy New Year to all of you. Just give it a couple minutes here, guys. We'll let a few more people join and then I'll hop into it. Let's get going. So yeah, just want to. Six people here, so we'll just get going. I don't know how many people are gonna join. It's about 10:30 p.m. where I am on Thursday night. Um, Yo, AT, what's happening, man? So I'm just gonna start talking here. We'll just keep this one pretty loose, open-ended. This is gonna be the first stream of the year. So just want to kind of start with some housekeeping items, and then we will go from there. So it's a new year, so congratulations for all of you that have stuck through a relatively uh, crazy year in crypto. So if we go to the chart here, here's our year. This is our year. So this was 2019, right? So we had obviously, it's funny. It's funny just looking at this, right? Being like, oh, was it that easy just to sell the previous yearly open? So pretty crazy. A better thing to look at will be this. So here's a year on Bitcoin. So in Oh my goodness, that is rude. I'm sorry. In Bitcoin's existence, we haven't really had back-to-back red years before, right? So we had a red year there. Open here was 471, close. That's a green. That's a green. That is a green. So, we've only had two, from what I can tell. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. We've only had two green or red years in the entirety of Bitcoin in the last decade. So, I just want to kind of start with this stream with putting some things in context from the higher time frame, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the charts. So, in the last 10 years, Bitcoin has been a pretty damn good investment. That's just the bottom line. It's one of the best performing investments of the last decade, if not the best. If you just take the low here to even price right now, right? We're talking, what is this? Comma there, comma there. Is that 11 million? Is that 11 million percent? I mean, that's absurd. I don't know if that is accurate, but I mean, the numbers are mind-boggling when you look at it on the high time frame. And over the last 10 years, Bitcoin has been, a good investment and a positive investment in terms of rate of return every year, except for like, why is this? There you go. Except for the year of 2014 and the year of 2018. So as much as this year's been crazy, or 2019, excuse me, it's so weird to say 2020. I'm still not accustomed to it. Imagine there will be some bloopers for the foreseeable future until I kind of get used to saying it. In terms of just holding on to Bitcoin as an asset, and I know holding isn't a strategy. The thing is we're so spoiled in crypto, and for those of you that haven't traded any other markets, all you know is crypto. Crypto is trading on steroids. Everything is bigger and faster. It's hyper speed. We're seeing market cycles occur in days, months, a year. On Bitcoin itself, on altcoins. These things are market cycling, pumping, dumping, insane speeds. Whereas if we look at the more traditional markets, it can take a decade for a parabolic run, which is what I believe the S&P 500 is doing right now, to play out. So if you're looking at the S&P 500 here, this is getting quite parabolic, right? And this has been 10 years in the making. Okay, so Bitcoin, we're spoiled in that sense. We're very spoiled because things happen so fast. But it also causes you to, I think, lose perspective on what's actually happening, and also kind of fuck yourself in terms of investing because you become short-sighted and you say, well, oh, it's down from 14K, right? Everyone's like, oh, I still, and I've got egg on my face for sure for trying to call bottom here. We're not much lower. We're still within kind of this area, but a lot of people are like, this is a bear market and this is continuation of here. If this is a bear market, right, we're going to make a lower low here. Like if we make a higher low anywhere here and then continue, this was the start of a bull run, not a bear market. We've talked about this in the past, right? We've had lots of instances where prices, rallied huge and then crashed and then, continued. But the first rally, like this was just us exiting a bear market here, huge dump, and then, continuation. Maybe this is just us exiting a bear market and placing a higher low. If we are going to continue down from here, and take out this low, I mean, basically everything I've thought about Bitcoin over the last year is completely wrong, because I'm of the mindset that was the low and that we are going to see continuation eventually towards all-time high again. But I could very well be wrong. But to me, people saying like this is a bear market. Yes, price has been going down for the last 5 months. But again, what people forget, because this is crypto, is like, well, where did we start last year? Right? So we started at 3K. A year ago, about this time, we were at 3K. So, people would be begging for price to be trading at 7K. So when it's all said and done, all of the up, the down, all of the bias flipping, all of the shit that you've seen on Twitter in the last year, all the stuff we've talked about in our group, it's just an inside bar on the yearly chart. Okay, this is just an inside bar. Why is it doing this to me? Why do you hit me? It's just an inside bar. It's got a long upper wick. Obviously, not great by some standards, I guess. But, in reality, we've had a huge run up for the first half of the year and then kind of a slow descent for the latter half of the year. So, really the year's kind of truncated. It's almost perfectly right in half. If you go halfway through the year, so what would that be? Would that be June, right? So June 1st, not quite, I guess, July. So, the first 7 months of the year, uptrend, second 5 months of the year, downtrend. I'm of the mindset that this is going to be the prevailing trend, right? On a high time frame, that this is what we're forming here. Do we go a little lower, right? Sure. But that is my mindset on what's going on in crypto. I could be wrong, but we got to keep things in perspective. If you've been in this group since last year, because we've been open that long now, which is crazy to think about. I think we opened here. I was buying spot here. I was buying spot here. So, from that stance, I'm doing well still. Obviously, my trading the last 4 months, 5 months even, have been not good. I would say, I'm not gonna. I would say I can tell you that over the last 5 months, I have about. I'd have to open up my journal, but I'm trying to remember because I looked at it earlier today. I think my strike rate is somewhere between 30 to 35%. I'll get the exact number for you. Somewhere between 30 and 35% on my crypto trades, which is not great by my standards. I like to get closer to 50 or above, obviously, but no one's perfect. If you're batting above 50, you're crushing it. But yeah, that's about 1 in 3 trades right, which isn't very good and definitely is not in line with what I was doing here and here. But it is what it is. When you trade for long enough, what you'll learn is that there is ebbs and flows in the market. There's ebbs and flows in your equity curve, and there's going to be ebbs and flows in your strike rate. Consistency is key in that when you have a system that you trust, that is repeatable, something that works for you, you stick with it because eventually, you can have down weeks, you can have down days, you can have down months. Okay, I've had out of the last 5 months, I've had 3 of them be actual down months where I've lost money on my portfolio on a whole. That includes my forex trading and everything. I've lost some money. But the up months always outweigh the down months because I always aim for that asymmetric risk reward. So when you lose small, and when you win big. And a perfect example is this gold trade that I'm in that is flying right now. I've made, money back on this trade that I've lost on my last 4 crypto trades, right? So you have to stick with it. And that's something that just comes with experience, being able to handle drawdown, being able to, your equity curve is never going to look like this. Your equity curve is going to look, like an uptrend, right? There's going to be peaks, there's going to be runs, and then there's going to be bad times, and there's going to be some runs and maybe some more bad times. But the idea is, the trend is up. Right? As long as the trend is up, that is what matters. It's not going to go straight up in a straight line, just like trading. Nothing goes up in a straight line. There are going to be ups and downs, but you want the ups to be bigger than the downs. Obviously, a growth oversimplification, but you understand what I'm saying. So, I've been in tough. This market's been chopping me up. I definitely think, I've been fighting the downtrend. If I look at my trading over the last 5 months, most of the trades I've taken are longs. So when you're in a downtrend, usually that's not very good. So I've spent some time over the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate you guys being patient with me, not doing any videos over the last 2 weeks. I went home for the holidays. I was spending time with my brothers, with my parents, with my girlfriend, did some skiing, and just kind of unwind and unplugged, and it felt really good. And I'm coming back to the charts and to the group and to just trading and to everything, to life. I think reinvigorated and excited. I think I was getting a little bit burnt out, and I think part of it was from losing a bunch of fucking trades, but it is what it is. I've got my energy up here and I'm excited. I feel good physically. I've been working out like crazy. So I'm excited. I think I'm in a good headspace right now, and I'm looking forward to, posting some good trades for you guys and getting back into the rhythm here. I am back home now for the foreseeable future. I don't got any trips really planned. I'm going away for a weekend at the end of the month, but nothing crazy. I am going to Scottsdale, Arizona for the Waste Management Open. If any of you are in Phoenix and will be there at the end of the month, holla at your boy. I'd love to get a beer. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. I do think we're closer to the bottom than not. And as I've said previously in my analysis, I think buying Bitcoin anywhere from this area of like kind of 5K to 7K, I think long term, forget those lines, those were dumb. But long term, I think it's a good bet. I am of the belief that Bitcoin sees all-time high again. So I think buying, in this area is good. One guy on Twitter that I really enjoy for just kind of macro stuff is this guy. So this guy's great for kind of macro stuff, not so much day trading, but he does a lot of cool stuff with the log chart, and he crushes it. He does very well at kind of calling trend changes on the macro level. You can see here he basically nailed the BTC bottom. And he's basically believes that we are near the bottom. He believes that the bottom is going to form somewhere between kind of 5 and 7K. Obviously, that's a big range, and you're like, oh well, we're there now. But he's been saying this for a long time. He's been talking about where the bottom is going to form. He does everything based on the logarithmic chart. He uses all sorts of fibs and fucking indicators that I don't even begin to understand. But the guy's been accurate for a long time in terms of macro trend changes. Um, and, I kind of agree with him. I mean, it would be funny if this was the bottom right here. He's basically nailed it. Um, so he thinks we're near the bottom. I tend to agree with his analysis from the macro perspective. We've talked about that USD ZAR fractal ad nauseum in here, but again, we are at an area where I think a bottom would not be completely out of the question, right? We had that weekly SFP right into the EQ of our weekly block. We have the 62% pullback just about into the sweet spot. Prices declined heavily off of this high. We've had a big retrace after this huge pump. We're in an area of support. I think that the sentiment on Twitter is very bearish. I think a lot of people are expecting us to go to 4K and 3K. I do think that there's a lot of and we also have that USD ZAR fractal, right, that I drew out where we thought it was here and we said maybe it's one more low. So that is still lined up. So there's a lot of things lining up, in my opinion, that I think we might be closer than people think. Also timing relative to last year. Same time about is when the bottom formed, was right in kind of December, January. Then we went sideways for a while. That's what really got people fucked up. And if you mark the yearly open of last year, and the yearly close, same thing, right? What you'll notice is that was a good turning point, right? We traded below the yearly open, not for very long, got on top, boom. So the yearly open of where we're at now is something you're gonna watch. If the low is, let's assume for a moment that we're gonna have a bullish year on Bitcoin. Anytime we're trading below the yearly open would be the wick, right? So if you look here, this is the wick of the yearly candle, right? Below that yearly open. On the low time frame, it's a lot of trading, right? It's a month and a bit of trading, but it's just a wick on the yearly chart. So could that repeat here? Could we have a bunch of sideways right around the yearly open? So I think, the yearly open is a key level to watch here for where price is going to if price is going to kind of do something similar. If we're expecting a bullish year, which I personally am, time traded below the yearly open would be the wick of the year. So we'll see. I'm not trying to call the bottom. Not interested in that. I'm very well positioned in spot. I'm going to look for a long one that presents itself to me. But right now, I do think we're just in a range bound environment. So no need to try and rush one way or another. This has been over a month now. We've been in this range. So a lot of bias flipping has occurred in here on Twitter, calling the bottom, saying we're going to 8K, saying we're going to 4K, when in reality, we're just in a range. So the lesson I want to talk about today is just kind of a rehash on premium versus discount. And then I'll just kind of open up the floor to some questions. You guys want to see some charts, we can do that. But yeah, feeling good, excited to be back. I've got a lot of energy, so I'm excited to, kind of get back to a schedule. I'm going to aim to do 3 streams a week at minimum, as well as, at least once a day, if not more, posting in Discord. I am going to stick with my high time frame analysis. So I talked about this earlier. But I'm going to be focusing on just the high time frame. Let the boys focus on the low time frame. It's been working better for me. So I'm going to just focus on nothing below the 4 hour really, and focus on kind of the higher time frame trades that take longer to play out. Like we've been in this ETH trade, for weeks. But that's okay because, we got a great entry, and I do think, Don alt flip bullish, so it's got to go to target now. But I do think this trade is going to play out. I do like the look of it. So yeah, excited to kind of get back into the rhythm, to be posting for you guys again. Gonna get some winners going 100%. Gonna be active in Discord. It's just gonna be a good year all around. I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're all gonna make off like bandits, make a bunch of money, and we're gonna be happy. And yeah, I just want to kind of reiterate: don't lose perspective, right? Don't lose perspective. We are trading one of the greatest, bullish assets ever over the last 10 years. And anyone who is bearish on Bitcoin has not been around very long. I don't care what they say. Absolutely, if you were long 14K, you fucked up, right? If you're holding it to now. But at the end of the day, if you've been in this game as long as I have, and many of you have been in it for a year now, if we go through all-time high this year, many of you guys will be considered OGs if you bought Bitcoin sub 10K. You're going to be an OG. Welcome to the club, right? So if you've been around a long time, what you know is this asset likes to go up, it's long biased. We just proved that, right? There's only been 2 down years in the entirety of Bitcoin. Okay, so why would you be bearish on an asset like this? Could we come all the way down to like $700 again? I don't fucking know. I think Bitcoin would collapse if it were to go that low. I personally don't see us taking out that $3,000 low. My high time frame analysis, I guess what we can do is break the chart down I'll break it down from the high time frame, just fresh. But again, I'm bullish on crypto. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I think the low forms sooner than people think. And where it goes, that's yet to be seen. But I think, between $5,000 and $7,000 could be a generational type of entry. We could be talking, these kind of, an entry kind of like one of these, where on the pullback here before the next leg. And, here's the pullback, where's the next leg? So we'll see. Only time will tell, but I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited to, be on this journey with you guys. So what I'll do is I'm going to quickly check the chat. Then I'm going to break down Bitcoin chart from the yearly all the way down to the 4-hour. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about ranges, premium versus discount, just kind of a refresher. And then if you guys got any questions, let me know. I'm going to get back to doing some more educational videos this year. I kind of fell off on that. I posted a bunch of educational videos. So I don't know. I don't know how many new people there are in the group versus old people. If you guys have seen all the videos on the website, there's like got to be close to damn near 500 videos on there. But I'm going to start posting more concept videos again. Just it seemed like those really did well for some people. I posted that scalping series, and there are people who have opened up paid groups just using that. So I'll try and do more shit like that for y'all. I think it's valuable. And yeah, we'll go from there. So again, quickly check the chat here. Looks like no one's got any questions, so let's fucking get after it. And yeah, I hope you guys all wrote down some fucking goals real quick. We'll get Tony Robbins Trader Mayne here for a second. This is something that is super important to me. I know this is something I've talked about in previous streams. I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. I don't necessarily know if I believe it from like a quantum physics level where we're actually vibrating, and string theory shit where we're putting out vibrations, and if you match your vibration to the universe, what you want, it's gonna feed that back. But to me, it's all about goal setting, visualizing your goals, breaking down those goals into attainable steps, and then from there going out and taking action. I believe in the law of attraction, but I don't believe that you can just visualize something and then it just manifests in front of you. I think it still requires action. I think that's something that a lot of people miss, and they're like, oh, you can't just dream of things and they happen. I was like, well, of course not. It requires action. But I'm a firm believer in this shit because it's worked for me. So I don't really care what other people say about it. It's worked for me. It's no different than the ICT thing. I was like, oh, well, he's this. It's like, okay, well, his stuff works for me. So that's all the evidence I need. I don't need evidence from other people. It works for me. So what I do at the start of every year, and I'm in the process of doing right now, is I write in my journal goals. I have different, areas of my life that I focus on, and I break it down in. So I'll have, financial goals. So how much money do I want to make is a big goal, right? And then I'll break that down into, okay, well, how much money from trading? How much money from my business? How much money from other investments? and then I'll break that down further into, smaller categories. Like, okay, well, if I want to make X dollars from my business, what does that look like on a monthly basis? How many deals do I got to do? How many, etc. Same with trading. Okay, if I want to make this much money trading, what's that look like in terms of account gain? How much account gain do I need every month to consistently get there? How many trades could that be? And I try and break it down into more bite-sized pieces. And then I'll have, my health quadrant, and then I'll have my, relationships quadrant, friends, girlfriend, family, um, all sorts of different categories that I've broken up my life into. And I start big, and then I break it down, right? And I try and make them into more bite-sized morsels, because what I find is if you have this big goal, like I want to make $500,000 this year, let's say, right? That's a big fucking number. And it's can be daunting when, let's say, if you make if you make a correct trade or something, or let's say you're a sales guy, or whatever, right? Like, but when you're thinking about it as 500 grand, right? That's huge. It's hard to comprehend. But when you break it down, like, okay, well, this is what I got to do every quarter. This is what I got to do every month. This is what I got to do every day. It gives you a smaller bite-sized piece that's more actionable, and I think kind of less daunting, which makes it more attainable. Is that SMART goals system? I think that shit works, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable. Um, I forget what the R stands for. T for time frame, right? So you got to break it down into something that's more manageable, because then you feel like you're accomplishing things along the way. If you have this huge goal at the end of the day, you need stepping stones to get there, because it's really hard to be like, okay, well, where do I begin to make 500 grand, right? Like, you might have multiple business ventures going on. And to make 500 grand, it's like, well, how do I do it? You got to break it down into smaller pieces that you can then take action on. And that way, when you're working towards it, you're like, oh shit, I did this today. You can look, and you can hold yourself accountable and say, okay, well, I've did what I needed to do today to get towards that goal. And that's what it takes. It has to be something where you can feel like you're making accomplishments. And part of goal writing is not just writing them and then not looking at it again until next year. Check in, hold yourself accountable, go and look at it on a consistent basis. Be proud of stuff you accomplish. Pat yourself on the back, reward yourself, but don't lose sight of the bigger goal. Keep holding yourself accountable, and keep knocking at it. And then by the end of the year, you'll be amazed at what you accomplished. And so what I like to do is look at all the shit I wrote down last year, and some of the stuff I knew I wasn't going to accomplish. Some of the goals were extremely audacious, but that's the idea, right? You aim big. Grant Cardone, 10x that shit, right? Like, aim big. Obviously have ones that you can achieve as well, and then look back and see what you did, and you'll be amazed at how often you overachieve. It's incredible. So I'm a big believer in, goal setting, in terms of, to me, that's what the law of attraction is. It's setting goals. It's visualizing the life you want, and it's going out on a day-to-day basis and doing the action that will get you closer to that goal. And I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things. Like, my worst quadrant of life last year was my health and fitness. I got sick a lot, as you guys know. I kind of got out of shape. Like, I'm not fat, I'm skinny, but well, I'm not even skinny anymore, but I'm not fat by any means, but I'm not, ripped, or as in good a shape as I could be. And so that's one that's going to really be a focus for me. I smashed most of my financial goals, smashed them. But, that's one thing I want to work on. So I suggest you guys all do the same. I think it's super important to write goals, and to visualize, and to to break them down into more bite-sized pieces that you can review on a daily, weekly basis, and feel like you're making progress, especially with trading. It's so easy. Trading is such a quantitative and metrics driven, profession, that you can have a ton of different things that you are going to try and work towards. whether it's getting your strike rate to a certain percentage, making a certain amount of money, making a percentage on your account, learning a new concept, spending a certain amount of hours practicing whatever in chart time. So I suggest you guys all do that, and share them in the Discord. Let's talk about your goals. What are your goals for 2020? I want to know. And I can share some of mine with you guys, and then let's go and fucking kill them. So it'll be really cool to kind of revisit these, a year from now together and see how we did. So anyways, that's enough of me doing my best Tony Robinson impression. So let's talk about Bitcoin. Okay, so let's start on the yearly. Only level I care about here is this, the open. Okay, let's go to the quarterly. So we have a quarterly order block here that we spiked into here, okay? So this is a high time frame order block, significant, right? Huge up move. Now we're retesting this order block. And notice, right? Huge upper wick, not much of a down wick. Down wick is getting bigger here, right? So if we now look on the monthly, we're starting to see a shift, right? So we came into that quarterly order block. Look at this. On the monthly, we have a swing failure pattern here. Okay. Right into that quarterly order block, we have a swing failure pattern on the monthly chart, okay? High time frame shit. We also have this, right? This is a monthly breaker. The EQ of this monthly breaker is at 755. Okay? So there's a lot of confluence for support here. Okay? What do we also see here? We're starting to see some long lower wicks here that, in my opinion, signify that buyers may be stepping in here. Okay. Sorry, my girlfriend's just texting me. So a lot of confluent high time frame support here, monthly breaker, monthly SFP into a quarterly order block, long lower wicks. So potential sign that some buyers are stepping in. And again, one of those points that I'm trying to make is I do think that we may bottom sooner than people think. Because I think that from up here, a lot of people were talking about 6 to 7K as a bottom when we were trading up here, and now that we're here, a lot of people are readjusting those targets to lower. So same thing that happened at 3K, right? If you go back in time and you look at the Twitter, people that were posting, people were posting on TradingView. Everyone was like, hey, if 6K breaks, I'm buying 3K. And we're at 3K. Everyone who said they were buying 3K is now looking for 1K. So these are things to watch. High time frame, right? The market structure on the 4-hour chart, right? can change very quickly. As you just saw, this one candle, right, took out a high, and we could see a potential, short-term reversal here. Like market structure on the H4 can change extremely quickly, and all of a sudden we can be trading at 9K in a matter of days, right? And what you realize here is, yeah, market structure here, all of a sudden, boom, huge market structure shift on the H4, but it takes a lot longer to get realized on the higher time frames, right? But what happens though is people don't look at the clues from the higher time frame as to what might be happening on the lower time frame, right? So these are things that we can't ignore, and they're going to take longer to play out because it is the higher time frame, right? So the higher time frame is going to take longer to play out, but market structure is going to shift on the low time frame first, and it can shift quickly. So this is something to be aware of, right? Monthly swing failure pattern here, right into that quarterly OB, okay? Monthly breaker here with the EQ at 755 as well. If we now break it down to the weekly, right, we have that monthly SFP is actually also that weekly, and then, sorry, we have a weekly SFP here, okay? So there's that monthly SFP. It was also a weekly SFP, right? There's your reaction. We had another SFP here on the weekly. And now that we're on the weekly, we also have this level of interest. Our old reliable weekly order block. And if you look, where's that quarterly OB and where's that monthly SFP occur? It occurs right at the equilibrium, basically, right? There's your equilibrium there. Right at the equilibrium, basically 6,600. We had those SFP occurs, and we have that quarterly OB basically right on top of the EQ of this block. And if you go back in Discord, I talk about how I like on the macro us holding, this blah, blah, blah. We formed a hammer right into that weekly EQ support. Okay, I really like us holding above this level. I've talked about this for a while. 66.12. I must have my thing just slightly off here. There it is. So 66.12, right? I've said this is a level I want to see hold on the macro. So yes, we could test again. Yes, we could sweep below it, but on a weekly time frame, I don't want to see us close below here. We closed below here on the weekly, right? Look what happened here. We bounced. Once we started closing below, the level eventually gave up. Like we closed below. Yes, we bounced up, but then we're back in it. Closing below, bounce. Didn't even get out the top, closing below. Now we're rejecting, right? Then it gave up. So similar thing is what I'm watching for here. I want to see us hold above. If we start closing below, I'll probably look to get short for another leg down. Because I think that would be quite bearish, but I don't think we will. At least I don't know. I don't know for sure, but this is kind of my macro area where I do not want to see us close below here. So again, weekly order block here, weekly EQ, right in line with the quarterly OB. We also have that monthly breaker right around here. So a lot of confluence support. We formed a falling wedge right into all of this high time frame support after this run up, right? So this could almost be like a bull flag, a super big one. So high time frame, a lot of confluence support here. If we zoom in even more, okay, just looking at the 3-day now, I'm going to get rid of all this clutter. This is going to be kind of our level of interest. What does this also happen to be? This is basically $5 above the EQ of that weekly or that monthly breaker, right? So this is a key level here. If you look, wick, right? Close below, form the order block. Now we're above. There's your low, right at the EQ basically. We're $20 off, but so this is an interesting area for me for price. We're basically just ranging sideways, right? The selling is slowed down. This is aggressive selling, right? This is aggressive selling. Now we're ranging, right? So if you look at the lower time frame, right, everyone's been flipping their bias and we're just going sideways. This is the most sideways we've had in a long time. This was a range, right? But not even for a month. This was not really as much of a range as much as it was. Well, I guess this was kind of a distribution, but this is you could mark this as a range, right? But to me, right, like let's say we say this is a range. It's not a great range because we didn't really touch the range high, right? Here we are in a true range. This is sideways. So it's a lot of bias flipping. A lot of people being like, oh, the bears are in control. It's like we've barely moved, right? This is a scary dump. This is a scary dump. This kind of shit, nothing's really happened. So in the last month, prices barely moved. You could have came to your computer November, turned it off, came back now, and price is basically at the exact same level, and it's gone like $300 above or below that level. Like 7,100, we've gone $300 below. We've gone like $400 above. That's it. You haven't missed much. So this is an interesting level to me. The open of this 3-day block. This is our nearest resistance, right? And I had this in one of my charts marked, but this is a area of resistance right now, and price is just kind of sandwiched here. So if we zoom in again, I'm just going to skip the daily. I'm just going to go to the 12-hour. Here's our range that I've been using. I think I took here. Not quite. I know what it is. Hello, Gavna. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so there's the range I've been using. And I've had posted for you guys for a while. And as you can see, that 3-day order block open is basically at the EQ here. So we're just in a range bound environment right now. But what I want to show you there from breaking that down is there's a ton of high time frame support sitting here. There's that 3-day order block sitting right there at 70.60. There's your range EQ, right? The EQ of the weekly order block from pre-all-time high is basically right here at the range low. We also have that monthly breaker, range EQ of the monthly breaker, sitting right about here. We also have that quarterly breaker or quarterly order block, right? The quarterly order block with the SFP going right into it. Okay, right here, quarterly order block, SFP going right into it, right about at 6,600. So when you zoom in and look right there at the range low, and we have that SFP. So there's a lot of high time frame support here. So to me, to have an extremely bearish bias down here just doesn't make sense. Yes, we could go lower, but are we talking 3K from here? I don't think it just falls out. I don't think the ass falls out like that. I think, yes, we could see another test of the range low, and the bears on Twitter are going to lose their fucking shit. I think a lot more people get fucked if we go sideways and then start trending up, because I think a lot of people are conditioned to fade every single bounce because that's what's worked for the last 5 months and they've been right. But price is starting to go sideways. It's very similar to here where, relentless selling, and then sideways, right? And then every dump, people were flipping their shit when in reality, we were just in a range going sideways. So, we're in a range going sideways to now. If you don't know what to do, wait until one of these levels breaks. The range high or the range low. I'm not saying just a wick, but if we can close through the range high, buy pullbacks. If we close through the range low, sell pullbacks. That would be the kind of safe bet. But I want to just kind of illustrate there, and hopefully it made sense, that there's a lot of confluent high time frame support in this area. So let's see what happens. Right now I'm flat on Bitcoin. I got stopped out by bringing my stop up to here. My stop was originally here, and I had an order set here. So I would have had an average entry of 7K, and I would have been laughing, but instead I canceled my order here and brought my stop up to 6,900 and promptly got stopped out, and it literally reversed fucking $400, $300 almost instantly. So that's just kind of, you know, a cherry on top of, or just a perfect summation of my Bitcoin trading of late is, you know, getting stopped out at the literal bottom. My plan was dialed the entire time, expecting this move, right? Expecting the move, setting the bids, putting another, you know, a third order right at the breaker. I had it all planned, expecting a test of range high, and of course it got stopped out. So it is what it is. We move on, but yeah, so a lot of high time frame support here that I think people aren't seeing because they're too zoomed in on the chart and all they see is this. So let's wait and see. I'm still leaning potentially bullish. I'm bullish on ETH. I do think this trade will go to target at 160 and beyond. So there. So hopefully that explanation makes sense. Quickly want to touch on you know, ranges again, right? So when we talk about ranges, we think in a world of premium, right, versus discount. And so when you're looking at it, the way to calculate it, or the way that I do it, is if you're in a range, right? If we're in a downtrend, right, and then price forms a range. So if we're going down, right, and then price starts going sideways, and you're expecting further downward price action, okay? So eventually the range might take the range high and then dump, right? So there's your range, runs the range high, dump, and then continuation. What you do, it's 11:11, you guys, synchronicity, make a wish. What you do, right, is you want to sell when price is at a premium. And now if I were to flip this on its head, if we're in an uptrend, okay, and then price starts ranging, you want to potentially buy a break below the range low, expecting it to be a fake out, and then have continuation for an uptrend, right? So the market conditions matter. So if you're trading a range, if you're trend trading and there's a range, you expect the range to break in the direction that you're trading in, okay? And the other way to trade a range is to trade the range. So you're just trading, you have a range, right? Price is here. You want to sell it near the high, right? And then target the low, and then buy the low and target the high. And that's kind of the environment we're in right now. And if you've been targeting anything more than level to level in this range, you've probably bit the dust. Every time we've had a bounce, people have expected it to either break out or break down, when in reality it's just trading level to level. So I have a point here. One second. So regardless of whether you're trading a range in a trend, so we're coming in a downtrend and then continuation, or if you're just trading a range, you want to think of the market in premium versus discount. So if this is my range here, right? If I want to get short, what is getting short? And I did an entire video on this, so I suggest you go to the website and find it, but this is just going to be a quick refresher. If I want to get short, I want to sell, okay, the upper part of the range, right? If I'm just trading this range, or I'm expecting this range to break down, okay, the areas that you want to sell are up here, okay, or on a break below and continuation down. You don't want to sell here, okay? You want to sell here, okay? And the exact opposite is true for buying. If we have a range, right? If it's going up, let's say I expect the range to break up. I want to be buying, longing is buying down here, a break below, right? Or on a break and close above in continuation. And what it is it's premium versus discount. So if you're selling something, right? Do you want to sell something when price is at a premium, or it's at a discount, or it's at equilibrium? You want to sell it when it's at a premium. When price is at equilibrium, there's no bias to longs or shorts. It could go either way. The prevailing trend matters, right? If we're trading at the EQ, but we're in a huge downtrend, there's a chance that we're going to continue down, right? But I don't really like trading EQ because it's fair value. It's equilibrium. You want to trade premium versus discount. So if you're shorting, you want to trade sell when price is at a premium. That just makes sense. When you're buying, when you're longing, you want to long when price is at a discount. So when we're in a range bound environment, rather than trading at the middle of the range, right? Try and focus on the extremities of the range and think of it in terms of value, premium versus discount. So if I take my fib here and pull it from the range high to the range low, my premium area, okay, is going to be basically the upper 25% or the upper 1/3 of the range. This is where you want to be getting short if you're expecting a move down, and this is where you want to be getting long if you're expecting a move up. Trading in the EQ is kind of a coin flip. Trading at equilibrium, because the essence of it is it's fair value, right? So I like to use the fib, and you can use either the 25s or you can just use your regular fib. You want to be selling, right? What is the OTE? Right? If I have a price move, if this is a range, that's what people forget, right? This is a range, right? When you're taking the OTE, when you're taking a fib of a candle, all you're doing is marking off that candle's range. And when it pulls back, right? If this is my candle, when it pulls back here, if you're expecting continuation to the upside, here's your equilibrium, right? Here is your discount. Your discount is this area here, right? A move into discount, and that's where you want to long on an order block, right? Well, an order block, right, and taking the fib from a high to a low of a swing, you're just marking a range. It's no different than a sideways range. You're marking a range of a candle or of a price swing. And if you're longing the range of a price swing, you want to long it at a discount. You want to long it below the 50% mark, in the lower 1/3, in that 62 to 79% retracement level, potentially even lower, right? Potentially you get a fake out and then a go. And selling is the opposite. If you're taking a fib of a move to sell, right? You want to be selling it. This is just a range. This is no different than this range. This is just a range. You want to be selling it at a premium. Okay? So when we're looking at the range that we're in now, I'm not really interested in getting in a trade right here. This is a great trade because price is at a discount. We swept the range low. That's a good long. If you take the fib from here to here, look what happened. We broke below the EQ and we came right into what? A discount. This is a range. We came right into a discount and we hit an order block, and there's your reaction, right? And same for shorts, right? So if you're looking at shorts, the short side here, taking a range, where do you want to sell it? You don't want to sell it at the 50%. You want to sell it at a premium. SFP right at the premium here, right? There's a swing failure pattern into the premium area of the range. That's where you want to be selling. So when we're in a range bound environment like we are right now, this is something I want you guys to go refresh yourselves on. Go watch that range video I did. Premium versus discount, right? The best area, your highest potential for profitability when trading in a range, or trading, and a range includes price swings, right? A range is not just sideways price action. Any price move, if you pull a fib on it, you've now defined this is now a range. Where do I want to long this? Absolutely, it can go like this, right? But the highest value, the highest risk reward, that best RR is when price is at a discount. And based on us being in an uptrend, Longing when price is here, price is at a discount, that's your highest RR move, right? So go watch that refresher because we're in a range bound environment now. And so if you're looking to just play this range, don't trade the middle ground, right? Wait till we're in a premium. If you think price is going to go down, if you have a bearish bias, you want to be selling up here. Anytime we come up here, you want to be looking to short. Came up here, you short it. Yeah, it doesn't go all the way down, but you play it level to level, right? Came up into a premium again, you short it, went all the way to the range low. Came up into a premium again, you short it, you had another winning trade, right? Every time it came into a discount as well, you had a bounce, right? Where's price in a discount? Right here, and right here. And we've had a bounce every time. So don't trade the EQ, trade premium versus discount. Okay, so that's a little refresher. I did an entire video on this, so check that out. Right now we're battling at this EQ. The yearly opens 71.67 or something like that. 71.63. There you go. 71.63 is the yearly open. So if price stays above 7,200, I think we take out the range high next. I think a lot of people are bearish near the bottom again. So all the reasons I kind of went over earlier, that's why I think we could potentially be forming a bottom in this area. But if you want to play it safe, wait for a clean move through here. If we go through here, close, you buy a pullback towards 8K. If we have a clean move through here and close, I think we see much lower prices. So let's wait and see. I'm just not inclined to believe that we go to 4K. I just don't see it. We have a ton of high time frame support that I just showed you there. So let's see what happens. Anyone got any questions? I'll quickly touch on gold. It's already been an hour, so I got this one off here because I got to go to bed. But new year, new Mayne. Mayne's getting his 8 hours. Okay, Mayne will be getting his 8 hours. Let me tell you. So looking here, we've got our gold trade. Beautiful, right? Set some bids here, got filled. I ended up closing some here, expecting a pullback. We just continued to launch. So I'm still holding the majority of this position. I'm holding 75%. I'm probably going to take some off. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, we just took out, oh my God. When will you learn, Mayne? We just took out a bunch of highs here, right? So reasonable target is going to be, these highs, but this is obviously super bullish for gold. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a pullback here. So if we see a pullback towards, here, I think you could get in a long here. This could be another long or an opportunity to compound. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pullback. I'm going to hold on for now. We're up over 6R. Stop is at break even now, so there's no risk on the trade. Already paid myself some. Probably even move my stop up here into profit because I don't see us coming back sub 1,500. Or maybe we do, but I don't know. This looks pretty good, and this looks to me like it's just going to continue. So any sort of pullback, I think, is a long, right? This is the buyers telling us that they're in control here. So we never lost that key level of mine. If you remember, I talked about this level for ages, right? When we lost this level, right, my next target was 1450 basically. And I said, if we lose 1450, we're going to see sub 14. We're going to see 13. Never lost it. We held it, which is just this order block here, right? We held the level the entire time. And when we regained 1480, right? Regained 1480, that's your signal. Fucking blow the doors off here. So really happy with how this trade's turned out because it's obviously making up for a lot of my losses I've had in crypto lately. But it is what it is. On to the next. But yeah, Bitcoin, interesting spot. Bouncing off this H12 breaker here. If we can hold the EQ of the range, right, I think we test the range high. So break below, close back above, I think we test the range high next. Um, if we close below the range EQ, I would cut your longs. But so there. So does anyone have any questions, anything like that? Also, what do you guys think about this whole U.S. Bombing or taking out that guy in Iran? Um, it's like he's like their top general, right? Isn't he one of the most powerful people in the country? So that's pretty crazy. I don't think there's going to be a World War III, but I definitely would be very surprised if there's some form of retaliation. What do you guys think about that? Appreciate that, Bass. I'm excited to be back, and I'll share some of my goals that I write with you guys, and I hope you guys do the same. I think I hate when people wait. Like I hate the whole like adage of like, oh, I gotta have my goals. People are like, oh, don't set your goals at 2020, like, or at January 1st. Start now. At the end of the day, the dates are arbitrary, right? Like, who gives a fuck if you it's just, are you doing it or are you not? So I don't really care so much about when you do it. You just got to do it. Personally, it just works out well for me. January, you have the holidays, everything, you do all your family time, and then boom, let's get into the new year, and crush it. But do whatever you got to do. But I definitely think, it's super important to set goals, especially if you're in a business like trading. There's so many different things you can monitor your performance by. It would behoove you to track some of those metrics, set goals for yourself, and then reward yourself accordingly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to poke the bear. I don't necessarily think that getting into it with Iran is a good idea either. But I do think there is a method to the madness in that, Trump's in an election year. And the states, I'm Canadian, right? But the states love war. And it seems like war and taking out the bad guys, I'm using air quotes here, is generally good for a president's popularity in terms of reelection. Obama did it, Bush did it. So I'm of the mindset that there's, some 4D chess at play here. Who knows? Do I think World War III is going to happen? No. I don't think this is necessarily a good look, though. There has to be some sort of retaliation. I'm pretty sure this guy was like essentially the number 2 guy in the country. So I'd be very surprised if there wasn't at least some sort of blowback. And Iran is powerful. I mean, does China get involved? Does Russia get involved? I don't know. Crazy fucking times. But what I am interested to see is the fucking stream of consciousness coming from Trump's Twitter in the middle of the night and just seeing him talking shit. I don't even know. It's going to be crazy. But, happy to be in Canada at this point. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I'm going to sign off here, guys. Love you all. Very excited for this year. I'm coming in with great mindset, great energy. We're going to fucking crush this shit. Let's fucking do it. So talk to you guys all on the weekend. I'll be doing another stream either Saturday or Sunday. It's dumping. There's a crazy blizzard going through British Columbia right now, and it is shitting snow at the ski hill. We're expected to get like 60 centimeters. So I'm going to probably go up and rip some fat lines of POW on Saturday. But if not, I will do a video. Otherwise, I'll do one for the weekly close. All right, signing off here, guys. Talk soon.